Hey, today's lesson, we want to start our work in Chapter 3. And to begin our work in Chapter 3, we're going to talk about lines and angles. So let's begin. Our objective and standard. At the end of today, we're going to learn the names of the angle pairs formed by two lines cut by a transversal. We're also going to review the idea of the parallel and skew. Our standard, well, it's just what we worked on last week, but just a bigger standard part of the standard. Last week we learned about vertical angles are congruent. Today we're going to learn about the transversal crossing parallel lines. So let's begin our work today. Parallel and skew. Parallel lines, we all know, are coplanar lines that do not intersect. The symbol for parallel is this thing that kind of looks like an 11 or two lines going up and down. Skew lines are non-coplanar. They are not parallel, but they do not intersect. And parallel planes are planes that do not intersect. Take a look at this diagram. It kind of looks like a box, a rectangular prism. Our parallel line segments would be like BC and AD. They're on the top plane of the box, the top face, and they don't touch. Skew lines would be something like, an example would be AB and FG. Notice that AB is in the front plane and the left plane. FG is in the back and the bottom. So they're not in the same plane, but yet they don't touch. So that's why we can't say that they're parallel. And intersecting lines would be something like EF and FG. Of course, intersecting lines intersect in exactly one point. If you think about parallel planes, planes that don't intersect would be like the top and the bottom faces of the box, left and the right faces of the box, or even the front and the back. Let's talk transversal. The definition of transversal is this: is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at distinct points, such as this. Notice that A and B are coplanar because they're in the same line. Transversal line would be the red line. We put numbers here to indicate the angles. Those are not the degrees. It's not how big the angles are. They're just a way for us to identify the angles. And notice that when the transversal intersects the coplanar lines at two distinct points, you have 8 distinct angles that are formed. Our job today is to learn, remember our objective, we're going to learn about those pairs of angles formed by a transversal. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are between the two coplanar lines. Therefore, they're interior angles. 1, 2, 7, and 8 are outside the coplanar lines. They are exterior angles. Take a look at this. The angle pairs formed by transversals. Alternate interior angles are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. We'll show you this in a diagram in just a second. Non-adjacent means they can't share a vertex, they can't share a side. Same side interior angles. Well, they're interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal, and they're in corresponding positions. And finally, alternate exterior angles. They're non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. Take a look at this diagram. A and E are the corresponding angles. They occupy the same position. A and E are above the coplanar lines, and they're left of this transversal. Just like B and F are to the right of the transversal and above the coplanar lines, C and G, D and H. Imagine if you could come through here and pick this part of this coplanar line up and set it down on the other. It would fall exactly on top of each other. Alternate interiors, well, that would be like C and F and D and E. Again, alternate interiors are non-adjacent. So that's why it can't be C and D, because C and D are adjacent because they both share this vertex here and they share this side, this line. Alternate exteriors, A and H, B and G. Now, also thinking back to what we did last week, you should also know your vertical angles, like A and D, B and C. Finally then, your same side interior angles, C and E, D and F. They're on the same side of this transversal line, and they're in between the two coplanar lines. Those are our special angle pairs that you need to learn today. So now you can go start on your new Math XL assignment.